Hello friends, tonight we're going to take a look at the Surefire X300 Ultra. Is it really the tactical light to end all tactical lights? I'm not sure, but I tried my best not to buy one of these, and I broke every other goddamn pistol light that I tried, and I ended up with one of these all the same. So let me save you some frustration and money. If you're shopping around for a weapon light, skip straight to this one. Don't buy the cheaper Enforce first, skip the Stream light. Odds are good you'll end up here anyway, as I did. So just buy the goddamn thing to begin with. The Surefire X300 is a lot like those awful North Face jackets. Every white asshole has one of those, and they're always wearing them over their, blue button-downs like they're going to try and summit K2 after a catered lunch with their investors. But if you've ever been cold outside, you immediately realize why those assholes all have those jackets. They are very, very good jackets. And so the X300 is an excellent light and ought not be judged by the character of its owners. In the past, I would only purchase Surefire lights. I started shooting seriously in 2002, and there weren't many, if any, manufacturers producing reasonably priced gear that would stand up to rigorous use. Aimpoint, EOTech, Trijicon, Surefire, that was all I would purchase because that was all there was, and those habits continued to this present day. So I decided to branch out in 2019, and it did not go well. Nothing has ever worked as well for me as Surefire. My Surefire 6P has been running since I bought it at Light Fighter 17 years ago, and I should have stuck with Surefire. In fact, here is that Surefire 6P. It is incredibly fucked up and well used, but look, it still works. My friend the Practical Tactical Minimalist and I have a running list of guns and related accoutrements that are damn near indestructible. This is a list of stuff that you can recommend to anyone without hesitation or guilt. No one wants to recommend a piece of shit that breaks and then the person looks at you like, hey asshole, you're the one who recommended that I buy whatever it is. This light is firmly on that list. After using it for a while and comparing it to the other options, this is the only pistol light that I would recommend. I think it's the only pistol light on our list right now. It might be giant, with a similarly giant price tag, but this is the light to get. Also, if you're not watching the Practical Tactical Minimalist channel, you really should be. I'll put a link in the description. He's one of the best folks making gun videos on YouTube. Truly awesome stuff. Features. The Surefire X300 Ultra is a weapon-mounted light specifically designed for pistols, though it will easily fit on just about any other weapon with a 1913 rail. My particular light is the B model, meaning it has the T-slot mounting system. The older A model snaps on over the rail, while this one tightens down with a screw, as we can see on this side. The A model is said to work best with the Glock universal rail. I use my B model on Glocks all the time. It really doesn't matter. I prefer the B model because I like how easy and simple it is to just tighten the screw down. It's also easier to change the little rail insert, but whichever one you like is fine. There are two versions of the X300 Ultra. The older model, which had a 600 lumen lamp, and this one, which has a 1000 lumen lamp. You definitely want the new one. It's very, very bright. The 600 lumen light runs on two CR123 batteries with a runtime of 1.25 hours. This unit is 3.6 inches long and weighs 4 ounces with the batteries. Given the size and output of this thing, that's pretty damn light. Looking at it, you would expect it to be much heavier, as I did. The X300 Ultra is waterproof at a depth of 1 meter for 30 minutes. How do you install it? Well, it couldn't be simpler, to the point that I debated whether or not I should waste my time showing you how to tighten a goddamn screw, but fuck it, let's do it. Maybe, some of you are mentally challenged and need to know how to tighten a screw. I don't know, it's none of my business, so let's just do it anyway. To take it off the gun, loosen this screw here. And the light comes right off. Easy. With the light off the gun, you'll see that you can loosen the screw and remove this insert. This insert is how the light interfaces with the rail on any gun. And it's going to come with two inserts, one for the universal Glock rail and the other for 1913 rails. See, that comes right out. And then when you, you have to get it just right. When you move the rail over, that's going to lock the insert in place. Now that can't come out. It's a really elegant system. I think it's a lot more elegant than the system that's in the A model, where you have to do all kinds of shit to remove the insert. This is better. Now, I'm not saying you should do this, and I'm sure several of you will poop your pants when you hear this and give me some explanation for why this is folly and my stupidity and hubris have doomed humanity, but I don't swap the inserts when I move the light to a different type of rail. This one, whichever one it even is, works fine with anything. Just tighten the little screw down and it's ready to use. So, again, not saying you should do it, but it works fine. It's fine to do that. But in this case, you should probably do the right thing. Now to put the light on a gun, loosen the screw until it fits on the gun that you want to put it on, then tighten the screw. Hand tight is absolutely fine. If you'd like for the light to be a little more secure, take a flathead screwdriver and give the screw another quarter turn, like so. It is very, very important that you don't over tighten the light, especially if you are putting it on a polymer framed pistol. In fact, this warning is the real reason I'm showing you how to install the light. If you over tighten the screw, you might induce malfunctions. Polymer frames flex under recoil. That's normal, and polymer guns are designed with this in mind. When you excessively tighten the light over the rail, you are limiting how much the frame can flex, and the gun's recoil cycle will get all fucked up, so don't do it. Also, even putting the light on by hand, it will not fall off. It's gonna be fine. Getting the screw hand tight, it's not gonna go anywhere, even under heavy use at the range. Just put it on with your hands. When the B model first hit the market, folks on forums were saying this light caused their Glocks to malfunction. Don't buy it if you have a Glock, they said. It won't work. That's fucking bullshit. This light will work on any gun, just use it correctly. So how do you take the light off and change the batteries? On the bottom of the light is a little button. Push it while gently pulling the hinged rear gate open. So push that button down and then pull on the rear gate. It's going to pop right open. You can see that the battery compartment has a rubber gasket around it, making it watertight. And there are our two CR123 batteries. You can see their orientation there. Very nice. Let's take a look in the battery compartment. I don't know why the hell I'm showing you that. Also, you can see on the bottom, there's this little orientation guide. Very, very handy. I'm an idiot and this helps should I need to change the batteries in a hurry. So let's get those back in there exactly the way it says too. And look at me, I still fucked that up, didn't I? Look at that. All right, and then snap the little door closed. Very nice. See this hinge on the battery door? This is nice because should you break the battery door, you can replace just the door rather than the whole light. Shit breaks, and this will help keep the light working for years and years, even if you wreck the door, as I'm surely gonna do at some point. So let's put the light back on the gun. And again, we're just going to use our fingers to get it hand tight. Now that we're sure that the light is not over tightened and it's gonna work fine with our gun, let's see what it's like to use it. The light is operated by these ambidextrous paddles at the rear of the light where it interfaces with the front of the trigger guard. Pressing in on the paddle turns the light on momentarily. When you release the button, the light turns off again. So in, it's on, release the button, it's off. Quite a bit of pressure is needed. This helps avoid accidental discharges of the light. We all like to discharge exactly when we mean to, like wizards. So that's an excellent feature. When you press the paddle down, it will stick in place for constant on. You can also press it upward, although I'm not sure why you would. That feels awkward as fuck. Again, you can perform these actions with either paddle. Very nice. And moving the paddle down, just like pressing the paddle in, it requires just the right amount of force. It's really nice. So why should you buy this particular Surefire? If you're one of the 3, maybe now 4 people who watch this channel regularly, you may have noticed that I skipped the part where I tell you why you should buy this over other brands of light. I've had really bad luck with most brands other than Surefire. I don't want to give you a list of how the other lights failed and when because it would take up too much of your time, some of which you're already wasting by watching this terrible video, so know this. Nothing else has ever been remotely as durable. Every other light I've owned has had some kind of serious problem. Batteries draining prematurely, the light would flicker, switches failing. One light even had an unintentional feature where it would blink on and off whenever I'd handle the gun. That sucked. Anyhow, you'll want a Surefire. I've learned my lesson. I'll buy other brands to test on the channel, but you won't see me using any other ones on my own defensive guns. Now that you've decided to buy a Surefire, why might you buy this one over other models? This isn't the newest model, nor is it the most compact, so what makes this the one that I like so goddamn much? Well, if you want a small light for concealed carry, you might want to take a look at the XC1 or XC2. The 2 has a laser, the 1 doesn't. This light is extremely small and rather powerful for a light its size. Some folks have had trouble with that light long term, and it's one of the few Surefire products about which I consistently hear negative reviews. As far as I can tell, it's still more durable than something like the Enforce, but it doesn't really tell you much, does it? I'd buy an XC, and you'll surely see one on the channel at some point, but I wanted to let you know that they don't have the usual bulletproof reputation that comes with the Surefire product. It's also worth noting that the XC lights have seen some quiet changes over the years that would seem to rectify most of the problems that folks complain about. However, I can't tell you how it'll do until I test one myself. Next, we have the new XH series lights, like the XH15, the XH30, the 35, and the 55. These are very new. I think they were announced at SHOT Show 2018, and they're part of the Masterfire series. After the years of success with the X300 and 400, Surefire was looking to sell us something new, so they created this series with updated features. They also lock into that Surefire Masterfire holster, which didn't quite take off. The XH lights have low power and strobe modes. The former are much more useful than the latter, but hey, sometimes you want to have a rave. These newer lights sound awesome though, right? Well, you may still want the X300. The biggest problem with the XH series of lights is the lack of holster compatibility. Most holster makers produce something that will work with the X300 lights. This includes those Safari Lands that I'm so fond of. Additionally, most of the commonly available XH series lights have the Surefire Max Vision lamp. This lamp still produces 1,000 lumens, but it casts a wider beam with a less pronounced hot spot in the middle. This intense spot in the middle of the beam helps a lot to better blind an assailant, and I really like having that really intense hot spot with the X300. The Max Vision, it's just much more dispersed. So the Max Vision lamp is easier on the eyes of the user, and perhaps it better illuminates a room, but that comes at the expense of defensive capability. The XH30, though, I think has a standard lamp, but those are a bit less common than the 35 and 55. I just don't like the Max Vision beam. The XC lights have it too, but I feel like it matters a little bit less for a compact light with far fewer lumens. The XH lights have some nice features, but they come with all the extra buttons necessary to activate them. The X300 is much simpler. Push or move the paddles, have light. In a few years, the XH lights will be a lot more proven, and there will be holsters available for them. By then, I might change my mind, but for now, I'd still probably go with the X300. How has the X300 performed? This light is outstanding. When you first look in the battery compartment, you notice the build quality. The waterproofing is perfect, the finish is flawless. Screwing the light onto the gun, you notice that the hardware is top-notch, the buttons feel great. Let's take a moment to talk about the controls. Every other light that I've used extensively had buttons that were too sensitive. These cheaper lights were far too easy to accidentally discharge. If you so much as bump the fucking button on these other lights, they would turn on, and under duress, it is very easy to make a mistake. Well, like bumping a light button, discharging the light at an inopportune moment. With the Surefire, you have to apply just the right amount of pressure with your support thumb for the momentary on. It's almost uncomfortable, the amount of pressure you have to apply, and it just feels right. That's the way it should be. You can tell by the pressure on your thumb that you've engaged the light properly. Rolling the paddle down for constant on is much the same. Both the amount of force required and the length of throw for the paddle makes the movement very deliberate. It's unlikely that you'll accidentally activate the light in this way. I love the way the beam looks. Cheaper lights, Streamlight and Enforce, they have lamps that, I don't know, they look really cheap looking. It's that cheap white LED light, the sort that's very unpleasant to look at. The beam from the Surefire is much warmer and more pleasant, in addition to being very, very fucking bright. Surefire lights have an amazingly intense hotspot at the center, and it's very narrow and focused. This makes the light slightly less suited to scanning a whole room quickly, but it makes for a light that is extremely unpleasant to look into. If you have this shined on your face, you will be very unhappy. 1,000 lumens is a lot of lumens. When they say this light is waterproof, they mean it. I've used it mounted on a pistol several times in severe rain, and all the rain did was help keep the lens clean and bright. On one of those trips, it fell in the mud and didn't suffer anything other than very few minor scratches, which you might be able to see in the video. And the scratches are truly very, very minor. Surefire finishes are really, really tough. You can see all the carbon buildup on this thing. And this is after cleaning. I just can't get all that off without scrubbing the shit out of it, and I haven't felt like it. It's a light, who cares? As long as the lens is clean, doesn't really matter. But yeah, other than the carbon buildup, because this light has seen quite a few rounds, it has almost no visible wear from the holster or the 2 falls that it suffered. Again, one of which was into mud, the other of which was on gravel. After my recent negative experiences with weapon lights, I wanted to be extra mean to the X300, and it doesn't give a shit. This thing was built to be used, and it seems like it'll take anything you throw at it. A few of you have asked me if this light changes the way the gun handles when it's installed. Yes, it definitely does. When the gun has no magazine in it, you feel the balance has shifted a little too far forward. But with a magazine loaded in the gun, the balance is just fine. You'll barely notice that any weight has been added to the front of the gun. When you fire a gun with it installed, there is noticeably less muzzle flip. I'm not saying that the recoil impulse is radically altered. It's not. It's not as effective as something like a good compensator on a roll-in special, but you'll notice that the gun feels a little bit different. Follow-up shots are just a hair faster, and why not take any advantage that you can get? When the lens is thoroughly caked with carbon, it's easy to clean. Some other lights I've had, like my Enforce, were not easy to clean. That shit was stuck on there good, but not so with the Surefires. I don't know if you can see how clean it is. That's just from wiping it off with a towel. Nothing crazy. Just wipe it off and the beam is as bright as it ever was. I love the simplicity of this light. There are no extraneous features. Sure, low power modes and strobe modes are nice, but how often are you going to use that shit anyway? In my experience, extra shit breaks. It's something else to fail. I like that this light is either off, on for a moment, or on until I flip the paddle back up. It's perfect. I have not found a better light than this one. What would I change about the X300? There's not much here to complain about, but this is still an older design and there is room for improvement. Most notably, this light is fucking huge. It might not be heavy, but it's massive. Surefire could certainly devise a way to shrink the light if they wanted to. I have complete faith in them. Yes, a change in dimension would make it so that the new light wouldn't fit in the numerous holsters made to fit the X300, which is something I said I liked earlier, but that's one of the many reasons that the design likely hasn't been shortened. And of course, 2 123A batteries that take up a lot of space, which brings me to the next change. I'd like to see a smaller single rechargeable battery power the whole unit, even if the runtime is reduced just a little bit. My Surefire M600DF takes a rechargeable battery, albeit a very large one, the 18650, and that light puts out a whopping 1500 lumens. There's something liberating about a rechargeable battery. You don't have to judiciously use the light. You can shine it at shit with utter impunity. Just take it home and charge it later. It's awesome. I'd like to have that same freedom with the X300, and I really think that Surefire could do it. You can purchase rechargeable CR123s from Surefire, and I don't know, maybe those should come standard with the light. I think I'd really like that. I suspect that they don't do it because those cut the runtime in half. But I don't know. I think that most consumers would still see them as an upgrade, and you could still put the standard batteries in there if you want. And rechargeable batteries that cut down on battery waste, it's a win-win. So, maybe such a small rechargeable battery with enough juice to power the X300, maybe that just doesn't exist yet. But I'd like to see Surefire innovate as they did with the M600DF and work on that technology. They've always been innovators. If any company can come up with a solution, I think that they certainly could. Maybe a unit that's the same width as the gun, that would be really cool. Final thoughts. This light is as close to perfect as you can get. I've learned this the hard way. It doesn't have a ton of features. It's big. It looks a little antiquated. You can't flip over to strobe mode and have a rave, but this light always works, and it's always there when you need it. If you hear a weird noise in the night, you can reach over to the gun on your bedside table and know that the light is going to do the job. That's far more valuable than all the gimmicky features in the world. None of that extra shit means anything if a beam won't come out of the end of the light when you hit the button. So going forward, I won't recommend any other pistol light. Nothing else is as durable. Nothing else is as proven. If you need a pistol light, this is the one. Spend the money, get the right thing. With a few of the lights I've had, specifically the Enforce, there were a few times when I needed the light, I hit the button, and nothing happened. Luckily, I was only using the light to see what the weird raccoons were doing in my backyard. But what if one of those raccoons was trying to rob me? What then? So anyway, buy the X300. This is an awesome, awesome light. You can't go wrong with this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'll see you soon. Good night.